Hello and welcome to today's information session for our firefighter paramedic recruitment. My name is Jennifer Thames and I am the Communications and Marketing Specialist with Emergency Services, and I will be moderating today's session. This session is being recorded and we will be posting it on the website afterwards. But before I begin, I want to acknowledge that we are presenting from Strathcona County, located on Territory 6 and the homeland of the Métis Nation of Alberta, Regions 2 and 4. Strathcona County honors the First Peoples of this land. We recognize that we stand upon the land that carries the footsteps of the Cree, Métis, and Blackfoot, amongst many other nations who have been here for thousands of years, and we are very proud to be protecting this land. There will be a question and answer period at the end of the presentation, but please put your questions in the Q&A function throughout the presentation. They will be answered at the end. So there's a little bit of a delay on the online event, so the earlier you can put your questions in, the better. To start things off, we would like to know a little bit about you. So if you wouldn't mind just letting us know where you're tuning in from into that Q&A chat. And on our panel today, we have Angela Morin from Talent Acquisition in Human Resources, Lieutenant John Verner from Training Division, and Lieutenant Wes Abel from Training Division. And now I will pass things over to Angela.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So the purpose of this information session is to provide you with important information on the recruitment process and share insight into a career in emergency services. Strathcona County Emergency Services is an integrated service, which means that all of our members are both firefighters and paramedics. We have 6 stations, 4 are full-time and 2 are part-time, and fire station number 7 is in the planning stages right now. We cover 1,200 square kilometers of mixed urban and rural communities throughout Strathcona County. We are a community with many needs, including petrochemical refining and industry, roads, rail, pipeline transportation corridors, high-density residential communities, many bodies of water, and an ever-increasing commercial business presence. We have a growing department with many engaging career opportunities. We have high-fidelity EMS SIM teams supporting Alberta Health Services. We have water rescue, rope rescue, and drone teams. We have peer fitness and support teams and a world champion FireFit team. We have pipes and drums and honor guard teams representing us throughout the year. We provide an excellent employee development program to challenge you during your career. Lifelong learning is important, and we invest in our employees because we expect you to deliver high quality service. We train frequently and expect you to be able to show that you are mastering the skills at your level. Now let's review the recruitment process. Prior to applying, you are encouraged to review all of the information that is available to you online at strathconacounty.ca/careers. Here you will find in-depth information about all the steps in the process and what to expect. Our current recruitment opportunity is live, and we are accepting applications until March 31st. After the posting closes, all applications will be screened for minimum qualifications. Successful candidates will then be contacted to start the next steps. We may reach out by telephone or by email, so please remember to check your junk mail folders just in case. You are encouraged to complete the U of A firefighter fitness testing during their open testing dates. For our 2026 recruitment, we will accept a successful fitness test result from the U of A that was conducted after January 1st, 2026. If you have not yet passed that test and you are selected to move forward in the process, you will be required to take that test in May. It is in your best interest to read in detail all of the information on the U of A Firefighter Fitness Testing webpage. They provide details on exactly what to expect during that fitness test, how to prepare, and tips on how to be successful. Please note, each candidate is responsible for paying the cost of that test, which is around $400. You pay that fee directly to the U of A when you register. And if you are successfully hired by Strathcona County, you can submit to have this fee reimbursed. The interview and testing day will be in mid-June this year. You can expect to be with us 5 to 6 hours to complete the following steps all in that same day. The firefighter aptitude test, the medical knowledge test and medical skills, and the interview. If you are invited to that interview and testing day, you will get more detailed information about all of those steps, but let's review some of that right now. The firefighter aptitude test is a multiple choice test that measures your understanding of reading and written information, math and numerical skills, maps, diagrams, and mechanical reasoning. You will be seated in a classroom setting for this test, and it usually takes 2 hours to complete the 110 questions. There is no cost to you for this exam, but you can choose to purchase the study guide that the supplier provides, and that link is also on our webpage. The medical knowledge test and skills testing. For this, you will complete a multiple choice medical knowledge test, and then you will demonstrate your skills at a simulation scenario. Here you will provide a clinical assessment and offer differential diagnoses with possible treatment suggestions aligned to your level of practice as either a PCP or ACP. And then there's the interview. You will meet with a small panel for the in-person interview. This interview style is behavioral based. This type of interview focuses on understanding how you've approached and handled past situations that may be relevant to the role. Our goal is to gain insight into your experience, problem-solving skills, and approach to challenges that might mirror those you would encounter here on the job. You are encouraged to prepare and practice for your interview. We expect complete and thorough responses to each question with examples. The interview is also your opportunity to let us get to know you a bit better. Even if you think you are experienced at the interview process, practice. Prepare for questions by thinking of specific examples that will best support your responses. Start writing down experiences you've had so they're top of mind when you are asked about situations in the interview. We all look forward to meeting you and during that interview, and we want you to be successful. After all the testing and interviews conclude, the final selection process will begin. All candidates that participate in the interview day will be notified of their status, and if you are selected to move forward, you will be contacted about those next steps. So some of those next steps will include the offer of employment that will happen by the end of June, both a verbal and written offer. And then you'll need to move on to the pre-employment medical assessment and drug and alcohol screening. The medical assessment is a condition of employment. It is a general physical with a doctor, including blood work, and it is to ensure you meet the requirements and physical demands of the job. You are encouraged to review the medical disqualifiers as listed in the NFPA standard, which is also linked on our webpage. A mask fit is also completed at that time, and you must be clean shaven for that mask fit. And then our anticipated start date for this year is August 10th, 2026. Now let's review the required minimum qualifications you need to have at the time of your application. You must be fully registered in good standing with the Alberta College of Paramedics as either an advanced care paramedic or a primary care paramedic, and we do verify your registration. You must hold a minimum valid Class 4 driver's license. If you don't already have Class 3, you must obtain it and provide proof of a valid Class 3 driver's license with air brake, so Q endorsement, by the end of your probationary period, which is typically 1 year. And this is a condition of employment. You are fully responsible for obtaining Class 3, and there is no reimbursement for this cost. a driver's abstract demonstrating a satisfactory driving record with no more than 7 demerits, and a satisfactory vulnerable sector police check. The driver's abstract and vulnerable check are only required after you get an offer, so please don't feel that you need to get it early and attach it with your application. You must have the ability to pass all the physical and medical standards, including eyesight and audible as outlined in that NFPA standard. The National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, are codes and standards documents outlining safety requirements for fire to minimize risk. The NFPA standards can all be viewed for free online at nfpa.org. The following qualifications are preferred but not mandatory. Your 1001s, level 1 and 2, any emergency medical or fire response work experience, and any other related certifications such as ITLS, PALS, or ACLS. Successful candidates will receive 1001 training once they start their position if required. The NFPA 1001 training is the international standard for firefighter professional qualifications, teaching core skills in fire suppression, rescue, and hazardous materials management. It combines classroom and hands-on practical training. And now I'm going to turn it over to emergency services to talk a little more about the department and what you can expect during training.
Okay, go ahead, Lieutenant Werner. You are muted, just so you know.
There we go. I can pull a fire hose to a front door, but I can't unmute my computer. All right. We can talk a little bit about emergency services, and we can talk a little bit about the recruit process, and we can talk a little bit about what it looks like going forward into your first year of work. I'll start off with just a real quick overview of each of those things. And then I guess we'll open it up to questions. Is that right? That's the plan?
That's
so
correct.
emergency services in general has many different paths. And as Angela mentioned, we focus on an integrated service. So we have ambulance and fire together at the same time. So when you come on shift, you can be assigned to one role or another. It's just very, very fluid. We are also what we call a blended service, which means Station 2 and Station 3 are volunteer paid on call firefighters, and all the other stations are full-time firefighters. So we often get those two teams together working on scenes at the same time. So often the part-time firefighters, the paid on call firefighters are already on a scene, and then we are coming in to back them up. Sometimes it's the other way around. We're on a call and we'll ask for them to come join us at the same time. Other things about our service, we're very focused on training. We have a large training division, and there's lots of continual improvements that we need to work on through your career. And then as you move along, there's automatic steps for promotion. So often people ask, I'm a firefighter, how do I get to move on to the next stages of my career? That's integrated into your career as a natural process. So through your officer ranks into officer school, working on stations, we also have opportunities that the department opens up to join specialty teams, to take paramedic training. There's a number of different things like that that are available in the career as a whole. A real quick overview of the recruit training. That is 14 weeks. It's usually 4 days on and then 3 days off. The 4 days on may move a little bit in the week depending on where your holiday lands, if it's a Monday or a Friday. But typically it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you'll have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. They're around about a 10-hour day. Most of your days have a physical fitness component in the morning, and then we go into training for the rest of the day. There's about a quarter to about a third of your time is spent studying, lectures, PowerPoints, that kind of thing. And the majority of the time is spent hands-on. Almost all the training is at Station 6. And if it is somewhere else, we'll all meet here, and then we provide transportation and the necessary things to go to Vermilion or Edmonton or different places for the training that we need to do. Yeah, that's about it for the recruit process to begin with. After you're done the recruit process, that 14 weeks, you then move to full-time career work on the floor. And that will carry on for the rest of that year. So technically, your first quarter, your first few months are done with us in training, and then all the rest of that year is on the floor as a career practitioner on the floor. We like to phase people into the job slowly. We don't just throw people to the wolves and let you survive. So the phase-in process, there's times where you'll work as an additional person on the ambulance, so maybe the third person in a 2-ambulance crew, or you'll work as the 5th person in a 4-person engine, and that allows you to move into that role slowly, and we can mentor you that direction. And then after a period of tour or two, you then are put into a full-time position on one of those units. That career has 3 more terms of training for you that you will do on shift with your career, with your crews. And then at the very end of that, usually around about May or June, we have a final test. So that encourages new recruits to continue studying through their career, that first year of their career. And then at the very end, there's an opportunity to write a test that helps rank people in seniority for where they fit into their class. And then after that, your probationary year is done, and you move into your what we call 3rd-class firefighter. So that's the second step of 4 different steps to become a 1st-class firefighter. Yeah, that's a real brief summary. I can throw it open, I guess, to questions or whatever you guys would like to do next.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant Werner. We are going to open it up to questions now. So if you have them, if you wouldn't mind just posting them, and then we will answer them. One question that I've got right now is, where have you noticed that people struggle the most during the process?
Good question. Are you thinking the application process that Angela can answer, or are you thinking the recruit process that I can answer?
I think both would be great.
Okay. Do you want to start first, Angela?
Absolutely. So in the recruitment process, where we're finding people may be struggling most is initially during the fitness testing at the U of A. So it's really important to take advantage of the open testing dates that the U of A has available, because then you know if a retest is required in order to be able to provide us with that pass of the fitness test. So that's the first area. The second area would be in the interview itself, in that behavioral based interview. I think people think that they are more experienced taking interviews than they may be. So we do encourage people to practice, rehearse, look over your resume, and be prepared to answer questions using very specific examples to be able to support your responses.
Good. In the recruit process, I think people often come in and are surprised by the volume of material there is to go over. We are covering all of the NFPA 1001 requirements, a number of dangerous goods, wildland, and rope requirements, as well as covering all the medical expectations that you would need to encounter when you're working on an ambulance in Alberta. And at the end, all of that is tested. So there's written exams and practical exams. And I think a lot of people come in not expecting the volume of work that there is available. So I think that's you need to reprioritize those days a little bit, recognizing that the recruit process is quite challenging. We have not really found a difference between people who've had previous 1001 training at a school and then have come to join us versus someone who comes in with no 1001 training. I feel that previous training is going to make it less stressful, more fluid. You'll be able to fit into the process a bit better. But just because you haven't had that training in the past doesn't mean that you're going to struggle more. We find both groups can sometimes do a bit better. Sometimes they struggle a little bit. But I think it's the volume of the material that kind of surprises people a little.
Hey, another question is how long after March 31st can we expect a reply from SCES?
So once all of the applications are reviewed after the posting does close on March 31st, it usually takes just a couple of weeks for us to screen through, and then we'll be reaching out to people for the next steps. So that would include if you have already completed the fitness test at the U of A and you provide that information in your application, that's great. For people who are being asked to move forward and have not completed the fitness test at the U of A, you will be invited to do so at that point and then register for that fitness test during their May testing dates. So probably it would be just a couple of weeks after the posting closes.
Another question we have is if we are successful in being hired, what advice do you have for a recruit class?
You're thinking you're hired, you're in the recruit class, and how do you become successful in that first 14 weeks? That might be a little bit of a different answer than how to be successful later on in your probationary year. I would say your first 14 weeks, the best advice I can give is to be ready to work hard. There's a lot of learning material, a lot of reading. It's a little intimidating coming in the first day and seeing how thick our textbooks are. So come in prepared to study. Some people come in thinking that's going to be the great time to do some renovations at home or some other things on the side. I would suggest if you can postpone other activities, this is going to really take a lot of effort and concentrated work. Some other people have found they're very physically fit. They've got active lifestyles outside in their regular life. And we encourage that. We'll often find, though, that the physical demands that come in your training are quite high. And some people have come in and realized they couldn't stay as engaged in a competitive teams environment on the side, that it was really beginning to cause a little bit of fatigue and ability to function well. So we encourage active lifestyles, and we would like to see that, but it might be something to consider, maybe taking a few weeks off of something else so that you can really focus well here. Some people can manage that balance. It was a few comments from the last class from some of the recruits saying, wow, I didn't expect to be so tired so often. And it was because they had so many extra activities that they were wanting to fit into their life. Later on in your career, a good way to be successful is, we talk about this in our recruit class, so we'll fill people in on this as we go along. To get in underneath your mentors, usually you're given a couple mentors on shift, come in along with them, pair up with them, and really commit your energy to learning from them. There's often occasions when different people are going on different trucks on different calls where that becomes a bit of a struggle. But I really recommend that after a call or after a shift to get a hold with the mentors and interact with them. That helps a person manage the stress of a new job and moving into new environments and maybe some uncertain experiences that we encounter in emergency services. Those mentors are there to help you walk through that process, because we don't want people to feel alone or that they're walking into this new career without the supports that they need. And we've trained here, and then when you get on the floor, there's usually a couple people to walk with you through that. I find that's really important.
Hey, another question is how often during your career do you get moved to different stations, different shifts, and are you able to gain seniority in this to choose where you'd like to go?
Seniority is just strictly years. So the only time really that you can affect your seniority is in the application process. So you apply, you go through classes, and then by the end of your probationary year, you write your final exams. That determines where you fit in your class for seniority. And then that's how you sit for many, many years to come. That won't change. So as you move along through your years, that's how you'll just stay in that seniority ranking. But we do move around a lot. So in Strathcona, every 6 months, you get reassigned to a new station, and there's 4 stations. So it would seem logical, the math would say that you would do all 4 stations in a 2-year rotation, but not necessarily. It depends on needs. If you're a paramedic and they need a paramedic at station 1, you might come back to station 1 more frequently. If you are trained to be an operator on a truck and they need you at station 6, you might spend more time there. But typically, we'll move every 6 months. And then I think, was it platoon assignment was the next question? Yeah, so you'll be assigned to a single platoon. I was assigned to platoon 4 to begin my career, and I stayed with platoon 4 for about 7 years. That was just coincidence. They didn't need me to move to balance out different skills or expectations on other shifts. And then at that point, that's when Strathcona sent me to get my paramedic training. And then I end up moving platoons to balance out the number of people on shift. So sometimes you can move platoons. That's usually done in the fall of the year, so around about October. You'll find out if you're moving your platoons. But that's not very often. Whereas on your shift, every 6 months, you'll usually do a regular rotation to a new station.
How many employees are you hiring this year and how many applicants apply?
We are very fortunate to get a high volume of applicants every year to our postings, which is fantastic. There's a big draw that people want to be employed by Strathcona County Emergency Services. So it's a very high volume of applications every year. This year, we'll probably hire 10, but that number will be determined once final numbers are selected in the months ahead, but probably around 10.
Just a reminder to, if you've got any more questions, just put them in the Q&A chat there, and we can get to as many as we can. Another question is, are you expected to eventually become an advanced care paramedic, and how soon can you apply to become an advanced care paramedic or go to school?
Do you have an answer from your perspective, Angela, or I can give mine as well?
Yep, sure. So as a minimum, you need to be a primary care paramedic to be considered as a minimum qualification in the recruitment process. So you must already be at a minimum a primary care paramedic and registered with the Alberta College of Paramedics. And then there are opportunities as the years go by, which happens fairly quickly, actually, if you would like to put your name forward to be considered to be sent to NAIT to become an advanced care paramedic. It is not mandatory. You don't have to. You can certainly have your career as a primary care paramedic in this integrated service. You don't have to, but there is a lot of interest in becoming an ACP.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would agree with that. We have a number of specialty teams in Strathcona that you can apply to later in your career. So some people choose to not pursue advanced care paramedicine, and they want to focus their time into fire-related skills. And that's encouraged, because then those people have the time to put into vehicle committees, equipment committees. They can join technical rescue teams. There's a number of different things that you can commit your energies to. Others like the idea of some advanced care medical training, and then you're allowed to go that direction as well. So at no point in your career do you have to make decision to go one way or the other. There's always opportunities along the way. However, the department is leaning more towards training people into advanced care paramedicine earlier in their career. Historically, if you went back 10 or 15 years, a person might be 8 or 10 or 12 years into their career and still go to NAIT for training. Nowadays, we're putting that emphasis more into the earlier part of your years. So usually you'll complete year number 1, and then by year number 2 or 3, you're putting your name into the list, and then you're looking to see who's in that list so you can see who's going to school. Generally, we're looking at about 4 people a year, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less. So there is a lot of opportunity. If a person wants to become a paramedic, you might not make it the first time you put your name in, but if you stay on the list, there's usually a lot of opportunity to get into that career later on. When you do that, you will be taken off the floor and you'll be sent to school full time. And then there's an arrangement with the county that says they'll keep track of your hours so that if you happen to have a break in your training, you might come back to the floor for a day or 2 to maintain your hours of work per week. But so long as you're putting those hours in at NAIT, you're not expected to also work a full-time shift at the same time. So we encourage you to go away and become a really good student and do really well. Your practicums are always back at Strathcona, so you have a guaranteed practicum. And because the department is paying your salary while you're away, that's a guaranteed paid practicum as well. Whereas most other paramedic students would have to go to any service that would take them as a student. And then you have this struggle of balancing the extra work you're doing to be a student with trying to pay your bills as well. So Strathcona is very supportive and we're very encouraging. We really like to encourage students to pursue further education. And this is a huge benefit the department provides for us. Mm-hmm.
If you are selected, do you take years of experience into account when it comes to pay progression?
Yes, so we are very happy that we do support previous experience being considered for where you are placed on the wage grid. So if you are coming with no experience or less than a year of experience, you start as a 4th class firefighter, paramedic, and are paid at 4th class. But if you're coming with experience that is reviewed and considered, and you could be paid at 3rd class, 2nd class, or 1st class pay, depending on the level of experience that you are bringing with you.
Another question, if we are waiting to write the copper or waiting for copper results, will our application still be considered?
So depending on the timing of your exams, you may or may not be eligible for this recruitment. So please consider still applying, and all of your credentials will be reviewed and assessed. So if you're still in the writing process, it really just depends on at what stage, because you must be fully registered with the Alberta College of Paramedics. So if it's not possible for you to have that complete, finish your registration with the Alberta College of Paramedics, you don't yet meet minimum qualifications required for this opportunity. So we definitely want you to proceed with that, continue with the exam, get registered, and then be qualified at a minimum for either this recruitment or the next one.
If we are unsuccessful advancing past the resume stage, what is your advice on making us a more competitive candidate?
Great question. So one of the things I would encourage is to review all of the information and details available on our website, as well as the Strathcona County Emergency Services recruitment pages for firefighter and paramedic recruitment. Lots of great information, tips and tricks on how to be successful, extra things to include that are really going to enhance and highlight your skills and those extra intangible qualifications that you might have: mechanical competency, teamwork, leadership, all of those things that you definitely want to highlight and include. And then, of course, experience. If you do have experience, please highlight that also.
Awesome. And I know Angela had mentioned it that we do have a lot of resources on our website. So if you go under strathcona.ca/join SCES, there is a page on tips to prepare, and there's actually a resume and interview guide on there that you can use. It looks like we're almost to the end of our questions, so we'll just give it another minute or two just to get those last minute ones in. Um, do you have just one other question? Do you have any say with which station you work out of?
Hmm. There's always an opportunity to talk to your platoon chief. So that's the person, most senior person in charge of the whole platoon. So it is possible to make requests, but that's usually under extenuating circumstances. So in some departments around North America, people often apply for a station. So if I live in this part of town, I'll apply for this station in the town. Or if they apply to a larger department, they'll be assigned to a station for many years, to the extent that people will even buy a house in that community and live there so that they're close to their work location. That's not quite the same here. We are very mobile in our stations. It's very often that you come into work and due to people being sick or injured or requirements at different stations, you'll be asked to move to a different station and work out of that station for the shift. So it's quite mobile and flexible as to where the stations that we start our shifts at. But it's not saying that that's not possible. So there's been, for example, Station 4 is way up in the north, Sherwood Park. And there have been some people that have asked specifically to be assigned to that station because they are working on material for the department or for educational purposes, and that station has some good training rooms and locations to work out of. So sometimes the platoon chief will accommodate that and assign them to that station specifically. Those are usually special requests.
One other question I missed earlier was, is there any discussion on switching to a 24-hour shift schedule?
Yeah, so we have discussed that a lot. There are some departments that have gone that direction. During COVID, actually, we saw a number of departments trial that. This is something that would have to be negotiated between the union and management. So as much as we talk about it, we have to wait to see how those conversations go, because it has to be an agreement between both parties to go that direction. Yeah, we've talked about that before.
When completing the fitness evaluation, VO2 max is calculated. Do you look at their results?
So the University of Alberta Sports Physiology Department does, but we do not from the recruitment's perspective. So we receive from the U of A pass or a fail. So as long as you have met all of the pass requirements of the firefighter fitness test, that's what we see. We see the pass or the fail, but you would get the results specifically from the U of A, so you would get those details.
And one of the tips that we've often heard from the U of A is don't train to the minimum, train beyond, so that when you're doing your testing that day, you know that you can easily make it. So definitely train for more. It looks like those are all the questions that have come in. So I just would like to thank our panel and to you for jumping on today. If you have any questions that come up after this session is over, you can email us at joinses@strathcona.ca and a recruiter will follow up with you. Thank you again and good luck in your application process. It's a lot to prepare for, but it is worth it and we hope to see you soon.